No, what's up, guys? This is Cosmo Jazz here, and welcome to a new thing I'm trying to do. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, but it's always been kind of one of those how would I ever really go about it kind of things, because if you haven't seen the title by now, it's like Kaza Rants. Excuse me. Where I just basically go off on ideas and things that I think about pretty much all day at work because I tend to be bored. And you can go ahead and tell my supervisor that because I'm pretty sure he knows by now. But if you're ever wondering what I'm going to be talking about or what time I'm probably going to be talking about it during the video, it's going to be somewhere around here. Where you can just go ahead and just go to that time frame and get to whatever it is you might want to hear me talk about. This one's going to be kind of probably one of the shorter ones that I want to do because this is Evo Japan week and I did want to restream the Tekken finals regardless of the fact that it is Leroy Central. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Now these videos that I'm going to be doing of this are kind of going to be a little bit unscripted, minus like a couple of things that I might put up like on a list on my monitors to just kind of bring it all together when I do my rant of such thing. So I'm not just drifting off into space, but it's mainly just going to be mostly from the dome because I feel like the best commentary really comes from real, true reaction-y things that I can't think of the words of right now. But without further ado, let's get on to the thing that you are probably clicking on, hopefully, which is my idea of how to make Frost a better character in MK11. Now, as I say any of these things, just know that these are all things from my perspective. I have no idea what the writing room was. It possibly couldn't be done due to budgets or whatever things that could have happened. I don't know. I wasn't there. This is just my opinion of how you could have done whatever it is better or what could have happened, etc., etc. So if you're going to get mad at that, there's nothing I can do for you. I'm allowed to have my opinion. But without further ado, let's get into this whole discussion because I'm pretty sure if you've played the Mortal Kombat 11 story or seen anything about it, one of the general things when it comes to Frost, other than the fact that she's a cyborg, I guess spoilers for that? I mean, really? At this point, if you don't know, you just didn't want to know, as far as I'm concerned. But the fact that she's kind of bratty. She just seems like she was kind of thrown into the mix into a big role without really getting there for a reason other than just to be there. And when it's not that, she's just a brat just trying to prove herself or something like that. And I think that the problem with it isn't the fact that she's in MK11 the way she is, but it's the fact that she wasn't established in the previous game like so many characters that are in the game now. So the thing I think that will help fix Frost is that in MKX you make her a part of the combat kids. And what do I mean by that is she's actually joining the group of the combat kids as they go through their journey into becoming a better team, and as well as go into fighting the likes of any of the Outworlders and Shinnok and all that other stuff. Now, I know that some of you are like, really? Come on, the combat kids weren't that liked, really. I think if you add her into that mix, it could help them be even more likable. Because when you first see Frost in MKX, she's just basically a temper tantrum person going to attack Scorpion and basically ruin Sub-Zero's whole friendship thing he's trying to go on with now that he knows the truth. But what if you took that and made that the reason why Sub-Zero says, hey, to Johnny Cage, could you do this for me because I can't seem to control her? Maybe put her under your wing and do your thing about it. And then you can kind of twist that around because you see in the beginning of MKX that he actually helps Johnny Cage with a test with the Combat Kids in the first place. So I feel like that could be kind of a nice little neat thing there. And her dynamic would almost follow the same thing as Kung Jin, kind of following his side of things of trying to be the alpha of the group. Because, I mean, if you've seen any of her dialogues, there's literally a dialogue that I have written right here that says, "You're a good little lapdog, aren't you?" to Cassie Cage. And Cassie goes back with, "A good soldier follows orders." And then Frost retorts with, "The best soldiers take command." So we already know she's trying to be the alpha dog. She's always trying to be the leader in charge. You can use that dynamic within the group to kind of create some better conflict that I feel like Kung Jin did. Especially since he was alone in pretty much all of that. Nobody really agreed with him in the first place. And it would create a better dynamic as the story went on, because there would always be kind of bigger butting head scenes, and maybe she could even go into more of her background story with Kung Jin, because she could like really trust him and whatnot. And then on top of that, she could have a whole falling out with Takeda, because he was trained by Scorpion. So she already doesn't like him either. Which is why, I mean, that's you can get some dynamics going in there to even better the story of the group as a whole. And as things go along, yeah, they can all kind of get together and have that whole scene that they had with the ship, where they kind of get together, and it's just like, okay, we gotta form this group, we gotta be one as a team, like they said in the story. But you can also still have Frost kind of being against that idea, but then you could have her see things from Takeda's side point, from his father and how everything happened to him, as well as the Shirai Ryu back in his past, which you see in the comic books. And maybe that can give you a little bit of kind of sympathy from Frost towards him. Not like completely, because it's still like, but at the same time, she could possibly see both sides and not be so hard on them, and kind of becoming a good bonding with them. But then, and here's why I say that you don't really have to change anything in MK11, because like it's making me sound like, well, she shouldn't be bad in the first place, right? This is where the Scorpion part, where he kills Quan Chi, comes into play. Because, I mean, spoilers again for a very old game at this point. Not that old, but old enough. That when he kills Quan Chi, or goes to, he basically ruins everything. Because in the whole thing that happens there is that Shinnok gets released because Quan Chi gets the enough time to do so. And that could be the trigger point to say, well, Frost was going to maybe get along with everybody. That could be the trigger point to really strengthen her resolve in two different ways, really. One, she was always right about the Shirai Ryu being dogs and awful people and so on and so forth. And two, she's been around the special forces for long enough to maybe think, well, they're supposed to be, quote, the strongest people in the Earth realm, and they should be able to handle something like the Shirai Ryu, but they couldn't. So that should strengthen her resolve and say, being one with the Cyber Initiative. It's like, well, if they were all cybers and able to just go on command and do all this other stuff and whatnot, they could easily have taken care of the Shirai Ryu. So that strengthens her resolve there. Now, and this is where I also kind of get into a kind of trouble with this storyline that I'm kind of telling you about, because it also makes you think, okay, what happens next after that point? Which I think two things can technically happen. She can get to the thing that she's not happy at all with happening, but she's still going to help her, quote, friends, because they still need her help in order to finish the whole Shinnok situation. And after that, she leaves when everything's said and done. Or she could leave then and there and go off on her own thing to say, I'm going to fight Shinnok my own way with the cyber initiative stuff and whatnot, which can go into another point that I think which should have been addressed before MK11, because there's literally a fight between Raiden and Frost where she literally pulls out "You abandoned me" to Raiden, and I'm trying to think of any point in time that actually happened, and I can't think of one. So it's just like you kind of just threw that accusation out there without really any proof to the viewer, where if you do it the way I'm pointing out, you could have it to where her initial kind of way of doing this is to go to Raiden to ask the Elder Gods to help with the cyber initiative. And then he could easily say, no, I'm not going to do that for XYZ reason or so. And that could be your "you abandon me" kind of scenario. Or you could do something in the comics. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the comics that happened in the game. It's just the way it is. Now, next thing on that is, if you do it the other way though, because the way I explained it might be like, well, why don't you just do it that way? If you do it the other way, I feel like you could lead better into the whole her meeting of Kronika as a stinger, kind of like how you got Dark Raiden as a stinger, because she could be going off into heading back into the Lin Kuei Temple and just really have it being in her thoughts, and then Kronika or Garrus could stop her before she gets there and kind of enchant her in that idea. And that could be like your stinger to say, oh, guess what's coming in MK11? And then you can literally go off into MK11 where almost you really don't have to change anything in that point, in my opinion, if you go with that route in MKX. But that's my opinion on how you fix Frost. And I'm kind of wondering how you guys think about fixing Frost down in the comment section below. But I'm going to be moving on from that because I'm short on time, as I said. And I'm going to be moving to another thing that's actually recently popped up, and we couldn't talk on the podcast, but I do want to talk about this because it could be very cold by the time we do. And that is Season 4 for Tekken 7 a possibility? Now, where this came from was basically saying that some guy on Twitter was texting, I think Murray and Harada, about possibility of Season 4, and Murray actually sent a tweet back saying basically it's possible, but like you have to support the scene, you have to support the devs, you have to support the game, etc., etc. You know, the typical spiel. So a lot of things are kind of going around saying, is Season 4 possible? And I think that it is very possible due to the fact that Tekken 7 is just doing so well for now. And I say for now because a recent development just kind of happened with Evo Japan, which there being at this moment 6 Leroys in top 8. I do think the way that Leroy will be dealt with will affect how Tekken 7's growth will go from here on out. Because on the one hand, you could barely touch him, and we can just keep having the Leroy barrage happening until maybe a miracle, here's how you deal with Leroy thing happens, or he just overwhelms everybody to the point that nobody wants to play it anymore. Or there could be a great chance that you nerf him too much and he becomes worse than Gigas, and he's what I like to call Sean tier, where Sean was definitely busted in Second Impact of Street Fighter, and then Third Strike they toned him way down, and then he was bottom tier. And I feel like either way is going to be very, very bad. So it's going to be hard to balance that character, because I feel like it's going to be more than just a couple of frames you can balance that character. You have to do something with his moveset, because he seems to have an answer for anything that anybody else could throw at him. But where I was going with that is also that they have another new character coming out called Fakurum. I hope I'm saying that right. But I'm wondering how he's going to also be balanced within the game as well, because there's a chance he could be just as bad as Leroy. And that's the one thing you really don't want to happen. Now, I am a slight I agree with the fact of characters should be broken and then toned down when it comes to DLC. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, really? The thing about it is, in my opinion, is that if a character is broken, they can be toned down to the point to where they can be viable and still be a fun character. And you want that character to be worth the consumer's money. You don't want them to be trash so that you wonder, why did I pick this character up in the first place when I could have saved my money for something else? I feel like you're going to get that more with a trash character than you will with a broken character. Especially if this person is trying to get into tournaments and stuff, or he's trying to really get into the game. However, Leroy has gotten insanely broken. So he's kind of the outlier of that one, but it is what it is. But I do wonder if Fakurum will also fall into that, or will he fall into the lower tier trash kind of category. I'm hoping he's higher tier, and there's a move I saw him do that I do think will lead him into that, but until he comes out, we'll never know. But all that being said, I feel like those kind of things will be a big factor if the people will keep supporting the way they have been for season 4 to happen. And because Tekken 7 has just been steady growing, and it's been going at a rapid rate every year. It could be due to Negan, it could be due to Leroy when he first came out, not when he's out now, but it could be a lot of factors. And it didn't seem like there's any way of slowing down. So I don't think it's not that unlikely to have a season 4. But I think we're in a weird space now where it could be slightly in jeopardy. That's just my opinion. I'd love to hear what you guys' thoughts are down in the comment section below. But as far as what I think it would be, however, is a whole nother topic itself, because if you look at every season pass, none of them have ever really been the same in any way. Because in the first one, we had Tekken Bowl, we had 2 guest characters, and something else that I can't remember right now. And then in the second season pass, we had nothing but characters, basically all returning except for one huge character for the series, Negan. And now in season 3, we have a couple returning characters and a couple of new characters. And we also have things like frame data. We have replays. We have something else that's I'm spacing out on for some reason. New stage. That's what it is. A new stage with the DLC. And it's so much that's like coming in for a season 3 that's different from everything else that's happened. So to say what would possibly be coming in season 4, it could be any one of those things, or it could be something even entirely different again. It could be all new characters, or it could be all returning characters, period. It could be returning character, guest character, and new character, and maybe a new mode per se, which if we're going to what I would want it to be, I mean, if you've known me any time on the channel, definitely Jun Kazama. Top priority for me there. I would like a Tekken Force mode, a co-op Tekken Force mode, or a scenario mode like it, to where it could have like some stats going on with it, you can play with your friends, try to build each other up to get the best builds and stuff. And I feel like that would be very fun, although that would take a lot of resources, especially so late in the game's life cycle, but one can dream, right? And I would like maybe some Kunimitsu. One thing I told my friend Mupsi was that when it comes to the characters that people might not want per se, at least not over other characters, they kind of hit the nail when they put Ganryu in there. There's still some other characters like Roger and Alex and Dr. Boskanovich and all those other ones that could also fall into that category, but I feel like Ganryu was the nail, the big one, especially since he was a guest character, not guest character, what am I talking about? Especially since he was in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the least liked character in the Tekken series in 2018, and you can look that up because it's literally in the book. So it's kind of interesting if we are going to get more characters, and I know that there's going to be somebody that's just like, we have enough characters at this point, we don't need any more. But I feel like we've passed that point to even say that anymore, because what's one more character really going to do to that whole thing, or a couple more characters? We're already past that point of too many characters, I feel like, in my opinion. So you might as well just keep going and worry about the whole too many characters thing in Tekken 8, where you can trim the fat or something, which is going to be rough, because for personal experience, that's rough for a lot of returning fans, especially season 1, which I don't want to go back to. But I do think it's interesting, though, that we've gotten this far as seasons go, because like I've told Moopsy a bunch of times now, when it comes to DLC and Tekken, it's still new, in my opinion, as far as the format goes, because I think the most DLC we've ever had really was Tekken Tag 2 before Tekken 7, and that was the DLC characters that came for free. I might be missing something in Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection. I didn't play it that much, so forgive me for that. And I don't think there was really much, if anything at all, for Tekken 6. Except for like the free scenario campaign co-op mode. Yeah, I can't think of anything. But overall, I'd say yes to a season 4. Especially since Tekken 7 is still doing so well. Do I want a Tekken 8 right now? I wouldn't mind it, especially if it gets me closer to my girl. But I'm not in the whole let's go on to the next game right now, and I honestly don't understand why there's such a surgence coming on Twitter of Tekken Tag 2. I feel like that's nostalgia talking and not reason talking, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But that's all I really had for this rant, really. I probably will be doing another one maybe the next couple of weeks. Let me know what you guys thought about this one in particular. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What things would you like me to talk about? As far as the format goes, I think I'm going to keep it this way because it is my rant. If I do change anything, it was just because I want to do it on that one. But overall, I think this was nice. And I look forward to hearing what you guys' thoughts are on everything that is going on with these two topics that I brought up. And as always, ask yourself this one question. Does your soul still burn? Bye, guys. That is a panda head in the background. I will catch you guys later. Okay, so I was originally going to stop at where I was right then and there. However, something has recently come up to where I was somewhat called out on it, in a way. I'm not going to name a name, but in a way, I kind of agree with the whole calling out on it. At the same time, I don't. If you know who I am, anyway, you would know my thoughts process on this, but I guess I have to get into this whole women getting attacked in the Twitch chat at events and so on and so forth. Look, until there is a good mod community base in the Twitch chat for like Evo and all this other stuff and anything else as far as competitive goes, that's never going to change. as many words as I would love to say about how people should do better and all this other things, until there's an actual repercussion for this to happen, it's never going to change. And I don't like the fact that when someone calls out all the males not saying something about this whole situation, that they're, quote, staying quiet, because that's almost generalizing in the fact that no males really care about your situation, when that couldn't be further from the truth. There was literally a tweet not too long ago of a male, who I will say, because I think he's an amazing person, L-Train, literally going on and off about these trolls that have been in the Twitch chat, saying that none of them can even begin to even comprehend the amount of skill that a lot of these female players they make fun of could literally be against them. And honestly, there's so many trolls in the Twitch chat that I know personally that I've actually called out. And a lot of those trolls, I'll say myself, if you put it first to 10 against a lot of the girls that they are going against, that they wouldn't even get around. It wouldn't even be a match. It would be a slaughter. But the thing is, because they're behind the keyboard and not really in front of that person, they have nothing to really stop them from doing what they're doing. Until there is a nightbot of some sort to kind of hit those kind of things, or great mods to watch the chat, or many other things, you just can't really stop it. You can say all these things, but you can't stop it. And I would say, instead of attacking the, quote, trolls that are constantly going to keep doing this no matter what happens, really, go ahead and talk to the organizers and the people that are actually behind the site and the events themselves, because they're the ones who's really going to have the tools needed to truly stop this. Like, for example, Mr. Wizard, you should be going straight to him and telling him, hey, you need to get some mods in this chat to fix this problem before it gets out of hand. And I'm just talking from an FGC standpoint. I'm sure this happens everywhere as far as things go for females in competitive or any kind of video game thing in general. But the thing is that until they really get that kind of push or anything, they are going to be complacent because they're still getting that money from those people who are paying to be in their chat. Because in order to even say those things in that chat, you have to pay a subscription. They paid for it, and as far as the company goes, they don't care until somebody brings it to their attention. So that's what I would say. Instead of just attacking them, which they should be brought out, those names should be posted and shown so that if anybody really knows them, they could really point them out and show to other people, hey, you need to watch out for this person because they are a horrible person that do not want the scene that they are in, whatever that scene may be, to succeed, and should be tossed to the wayside. But you have to do it more than that. It comes so much more than just attacking them, because that's just gonna get you nowhere. It's just gonna get you absolutely nowhere. Now, as far as actually being attacked in their actual chats, that's a whole nother problem in itself. And that's really all I can say is people need to do better on that front. That front in particular, it's so weird how we've gotten in the last, I want to say 6 to 7 years. It's been longer than that, but in my recollection, to 6 to 7 years, how hateful everything has gotten to anything, really. especially females in like 2020. Of it, like, it doesn't make any sense to me how you could be so hateful to someone who's just trying to get by just like you are. That's just trying to succeed like you are. At least I hope you're trying to succeed. Although, being that your comments are the way they are, it is what it is, and you're probably in your mother's basement somewhere jacking off to some weird furry porn or something like that. Not that I kink shame or anything like that. But anyway, that's just all I really wanted to talk to you about that front. Just if you are that kind of person and you subscribe to my channel, I'm just gonna say this straight up front: unsubscribe. Don't even comment. Don't even bother. You will be deleted. You will be out. You will be blocked. I don't like that any kind of way on my channel. We support everyone, as far as like female gamers, trans gamers, doesn't matter. If you're going to be that way, I don't want you on my channel. I don't want you anywhere near it. And that's that. Now, I'm done with my rant. Y'all have a blessed day.
Ling Sensu Bo, that's the weapon I'm reppin'. I said Ling Sensu Bo, that's the weapon I'm reppin'. I said Ling Sensu Bo, then you best get to steppin' before you get smacked around by my immaculate weapon. Ling Sensu Bo, that's the weapon I'm reppin'. I said Ling Sensu Bo, that's the weapon I'm reppin'. I said Ling Sensu Bo, then you best get to steppin' before you get smacked around by my immaculate weapon.